Just a quick Google search and you get to see what's cooking over at Disney Studios. Something's notably missing here, and that's the inclusion of any X-Men title. This list is only projects that are well into production with a release date in sight. The 20th Century Fox acquisition by Disney only happened a couple years ago. It's going to take time to plan out such a massive invasion of fan-favorite comic book heroes and villains seamlessly into a fleshed out and deeply connected universe. That shit takes a crazy amount of planning, considering how many writers and directors have to be filled in on what's going on in which storyline. You can't just have someone as powerful as Storm or Magneto sitting idly by while Thanos threatens all existing life. They gotta think of a believable reason for why we never got to see this go down. It's not just a couple of evolved humans in this universe. There are thousands who carry the X gene throughout the fictional world. The only man capable of looking over every single one of them from a distance, with the willpower to carry this burden on his shoulders, is Professor Xavier. He's capable of remotely entering the minds of everyone on Earth, and during instances where he can't, he has his super psychic computer Cerebro to increase his range. He's mastered his mutant abilities and can easily mess with minds, cut and splice some memories here and there, while life goes on, like you didn't just see a guy shoot lasers out of his eyes. His telepathy can be the perfect tool to make us believe why the X-Men were never involved. He's messed with memories to Wolverine in the past. It's actually how we got him to join the X-Men. Wolverine was sent to assassinate Charles, but he saw him coming a mile away. Charles manipulates Wolverine's mind to the point where he can't remember his past or his mission. He told Wolverine he would try and help him regain his memories, but obviously had no intention of doing so since it would restart the whole conflict. In the 2006 run of X-Men Deadly Genesis, during one of the more controversial story arcs, the Professor sent some of his young recruits to save the original X-Men, leading to some deaths. Instead of taking some accountability, he just erases everyone's mind. As powerful as he is, he's still written as a fairly flawed character. Wiping memories is a heinous level of invasion, but something the Professor is willing to do if he deems the situation worthy of stooping there. There are a ton of telepaths in the Marvel Comics, but not many who can rival Charles Xavier's mental powers. His whole character revolves around the ideology of creating a world where human and mutants can coexist as equals. This goal has to be handled with the utmost of care, considering how many of his fellow mutants can essentially destroy the world, causing a lot of people to discriminate and fear them. This dream is hard enough to accomplish without villains like Magneto halting all his progress. Magneto's difficult life, dealing with all kinds of prejudice that comes with being a mutant, formed a complete opposite outlook on life in comparison to his old friend Charles. Magneto doesn't want to live as equals. He truly believes mutants are the evolved superiors, and shouldn't have to deal with their hate and judgment. The Professor will have to have a strong presence within the MCU as the creator and leader of the X-Men, so using him as a tie-in can work really nicely. Phase 4 of the MCU can be the early formative years of the X-Men, when previously they were only a school for the quote-unquote gifted, where the younger ones can be protected and trained to use their unique abilities mindfully. Regardless of the route Kevin Feige or the rest of the writers tread, fans will question every past instance where the X-Men could have intervened, and the only answer you can give was the Professor knew things would turn out okay. It would have to be explained that every past incident where a mutant was exposed to the world ended in catastrophe to back up Charles' motives. This is the same comic serialization that has robots with the sole purpose of searching, capturing, and killing all mutants. It's too soon to reboot the whole MCU and introduce the X-Men along with some of the other franchises Fox owned like the Fantastic Four. So continuity issues is something we're gonna have to get used to. Then watch them be poked fun at in Deadpool 3. It'll be messy, but having Magneto and Doctor Doom a part of the MCU will dramatically help the weak villain roster constantly plaguing the films. I'm not the first to come up with this Charles mind wipe theory. I looked around before I thought I would post my thoughts, and saw some people online debating who's working to delete all history of mutants. This is just my take on it. I haven't read some of the newer X-Men comics, but while brushing up on some stuff I've missed for this video, I noticed Marvel retconned Wanda and Pietro's parentage again. They reverted back to Romanian roots instead of Magneto. Being the secret children of Magneto was a huge moment, and that was already a retcon from their original story arc. This new retcon may have to do with the mess that was the handling of these twins within two different franchises at the same time. Disney owned the rights to the Avengers, while Fox owned X-Men. But what happens if characters fall into both categories almost equally? Things get even more complicated when Wanda and Pietro aren't even written as mutants. We see Storm, Wolverine, and Rogue jump hero teams from time to time, but they're definitely mutants. So Disney and Fox came to the agreement of simply naming the twins Wanda and Pietro in the MCU without their hero epithets. Fox didn't even bother with naming Peter's sister in X-Men Days of Future Past during his intro. Yeah, they simplified his name to Peter to separate him from Pietro in Avengers Age of Ultron, but he keeps the epithet of Quicksilver. Why the existence of mutants have remained unnoticed is only one issue to be tackled in Phase 4 though. The timing of their exposure to the world will have to be believable, and there's one new franchise entering the MCU that can help with this. One that may be unfamiliar to some. The Eternals should be making their big screen debut towards the end of this year. There's a lot of tie-ins between these two franchises, and every single one of the heroes, who are Eternals, are living discreetly on Earth with godlike powers. Each and every one of them is a telepath. So they would have to allow Professor Xavier to do on his mind tricks on Earth. They could interfere at any time to try and stop him. There's also a chance that Xavier just feels like it's finally safe to come out of hiding, with Captain America winning the fight for superpowered individuals' freedom from government registration. Plus, superheroes took out Thanos and reversed his finger snap. They can have the people's love as long as one of their own doesn't tear down all this progress made. However they implement the X-Men into Phase 4 of the MCU, it'll be some time before Disney pieces this all together, but not too long. They gotta make that investment back. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see y'all next week.